Hello everyone, it's Natalie and welcome to my channel Find Joy in the Journey. I am about to start work in the Joy Garden. It is around maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I spent the first part of the day with my dear mother. I went over to her house to visit her. I spent the first part of the morning with her and we had a good time. We enjoyed each other's company. So now I'm heading back to my Joy Garden to get some things done. There's a lot of things that's in the greenhouse right now that I need to get into their containers. So I do a little bit at a time, step by step. So a couple of days ago, you may have seen me preparing the containers. I get these, I'm a container gardener and a raised bed gardener. I have 2 raised beds and everything else is in either planters or containers. And what I mean by containers, I mean totes, like the regular storage totes that you use. So once I get the containers ready, I drill the holes, everything's ready, then I put in the filler. If it's not a real deep container, then I wouldn't even put filler. I would just fill the entire thing with container mix. But if it's sort of deep, you don't need the whole thing filled completely with soil. So I would put some type of filler in the bottom and then the rest of it can be your soil. And also I suggest that you reuse old potting soil or container mix. Say for instance, I have tomatoes in there, the plant has died out. I've removed the plant out of its container and I'm going to reuse that old soil, but you want to mix it with some fresh soil also. So you're going to take that old container mix that you have and you have like 40% that old container mix, and then you're going to put in some new container mix and mix it up. And you may want to add just a little more something just to supercharge it. You may want to put some earthworm castings or bone meal, blood meal. Right now I'm going to those containers that I prepared. I'm right now using the old soil that I got from plants that have died out, and I'm reusing that old soil. I'm adding new soil, to it, and revitalizing that soil and putting it back in those containers, and I am planting my transplants. So that's what I'm going to do today. I just wanted to hop on and say hey and just let you know what's going on in the Joy Garden, okay? And I will share with you anything interesting that I am doing in the Joy Garden. I'm going to record it and I'm going to share it, okay? All right, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now and get to work. Enjoy your day. Happy gardening. Okay, guys. This is not the best angle, but I hope you can see me in what I'm doing. I have several old containers that is filled with used container mix, right? I have my wheelbarrow right here, and this is where I'm going to do all my mixing. Let me move this so you can see. Okay, I have this wheelbarrow right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on my gloves just to show you as an example. This is a container that I was growing sunflowers in, and the sunflowers died out, okay? And so I'm going to remove the mulch. Just scrape off. I normally scrape off, let me get where you can see my face. I normally scrape off the first inch or 2. First of all, I remove this mulch, which I'm going to reuse. So I have a container for the mulch, and then I have another little container for the top part of that soil. And also any roots. If I find any roots, I try to dig those roots out also. And then I take the container mix that's left in there and I dump it in here. Okay? and I'll show you that. And then what I do is I take that container soil and I add to it perlite, vermiculite, peat moss, some more potting mix or potting soil, and then the fertilizer that I told you about. I mix that all up in here, and I definitely want to add that perlite and peat moss. Oh yeah, and I forgot the composted cow manure. I do use some of that, but you don't want to go too heavy on the cow manure, the composted cow manure, because it depends on what you're growing. You got to be careful with it. I do add the composted cow manure to my soil, but I try not to go too heavy on it, because you never know when something does not really work well with the cow manure or the composted cow manure. I'll show you the bag. Okay. Hopefully it's not too heavy. I don't use Black Cow, which is a very popular brand. Okay, but I just use something like this. Okay, and this has been working well for me. So this is the composted cow manure that I'm referring to. So I may put a little bit of this, right? And then with the compost, I might do just 2 of these. It depends, like I said, on what I'm growing. And that's how I do my measurements. Then with the perlite and the vermiculite, I may just do maybe just 1 of these with the perlite. The perlite is for drainage. Perlite is for drainage, okay? And most plants, they call for well-drained soil. That's why the importance in drilling the holes in the bottom of the containers. The peat moss also helps make it light and airy. The vermiculite is for moisture retention, but also it makes the soil light and airy. The perlite is for drainage, but it also helps the soil be more light and airy. You don't want heavy soil, soil that's too heavy and compact. You want to be able to, when you touch the soil, you want it to kind of crumble in your hand, you know? That's what you want, okay? So, and that's old soil that's been used. So I'm gonna take that soil, and I'm also gonna take this. Like I said, I don't have my glove on, but just excuse me. I'm gonna take off that mulch. Like I said, it's better to have a glove, but I'm just doing this real quick for example. Take off that first layer of mulch. I'm going to be able to reuse this mulch. I may sift it a little bit, okay? And I'm going to reuse that mulch, okay? This is the root that I was telling you about. So I have another container down here for that. Now what's left, basically, all this used soil, all of this, I've scraped off that top layer, and this soil is so good. Look at this. Are you kidding me? Look at that. I'm going to reuse this. I mean, I feel like with this, all I need to do is just add a little more perlite. This soil is basically brand new almost. This container mix, okay? I'm going to add some more fertilizer. Like, I think I have Garden Tone. I'm going to add some more perlite. And let's see, maybe a little more peat moss. Just a little more peat moss to kind of make it a lot airier and lighter. I'm going to go ahead and take this just as it is. Let me back up so you can see just a little bit. This container right here. I'm sorry, the wheelbarrow. I'm going to take this and dump. Simple as that. when I add all the other stuff, when I add the pigments, when I add the perlite, all of that is going to be mixed right here in this wheelbarrow. Then, when I'm ready to fill the container, I just take the entire wheelbarrow and just roll it over to the container and dump it in from this. I'm going to use this to do the wheelbarrow to do all the mixing. So I'm just going to go and get the perlite, go get the peat moss and all the things that I need are right around me. So I'm finding an area that's nice and shady and it's relatively cool. Like I tell you, we have humidity in Louisiana that is unbelievable. It could be in the 80s right now, the temps, but because of the humidity, it feels like it's in the 90s. No joke. So that's why I'm trying to stay near the patio where it's shaded, and also I have my fan. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started mixing this up, and I have several other containers here. Same thing that I did with that one container, removing the mulch, removing the root, and then dumping that old container mix in this wheelbarrow. That's what I'm going to do with these other containers. And then I'll go from there, adding the new soil and all the other amendments to get it ready to fill another container. Okay? Let me get started. Fence is nearby me, so I won't have to keep running back and forth. Okay, let's see. This one's ready to go. I've already removed the mulch off this one. This one's ready to go. This is the root I'm referring to. See, this is the root from what I grew in that container. I'm going to get rid of that. This is another root here. Okay. And another one. There we go. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to add the peat moss. But just to show you, look at the quality of the soil as is. Look. Look at the quality of the soil as is. Okay? So this will save you so much money. Instead of having to go back out and buy more potting soil, reuse your old potting soil, reuse your old container mix. Just add more nutrients to it, add more fertilizer, add more perlite for drainage, add more peat moss. You want it to be as light and airy as possible. You don't want heavy, thick soil. You want a growing medium that is good for the roots. Think about that. Those roots need something that's light, airy, and full of nutrients to develop it, to grow it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to reuse this soil. Look at all that. This will probably fill that entire container over there that I'm going to use to put my potatoes in. Because you have this, and I'm not filling it all the way because now I have to add a little more new potting soil and a little more peat moss, perlite, and all those things. So you don't want the wheelbarrow completely filled because you need room to add. And here is the peat moss. Now just look at that. Look how light and airy that is. There's your peat moss. Now some of these have big clumps in there, so I'm just gonna break it down like this by hand. And mix that in. See, if it was if I had this wheelbarrow too filled up, it would be too heavy for me to mix it like I'm doing with just this with one hand here. Taking care of those little lumps of peat moss. Pretty good. I'm already seeing a visible difference. That container soil that I put in here was very wet. Now it's a lot drier. Okay, look at the consistency of it. Okay, now I'm going to add just a little of the compost cow manure here. Okay. Now, I also have I'm going to tell you what I did. Hold up. I actually have the perlite and vermiculite mixed together. You see those little brown small granules? That's the vermiculite. Well, I told you that is for moisture retention. And the larger white particles, that's your perlite. That is for drainage. Okay, it also conditions the soil. It makes it more lighter, more airier. Okay, so I'm going to try to spread it evenly so it'll help me when I start mixing. Go a little more. Drainage, drainage, drainage. Very important. Try to hurry, you guys, because I see some dark clouds rolling in. Here is my fresh potting mix or potting soil. Okay, so you have the old container mix that's already in there, and now I'm adding some fresh potting soil. Never used before. Okay, I'm going to add that also. This is about a cup of, I'm using garden tone. Okay, this is the fertilizer. And trust me, I will be adding more. This is just to get started. Okay? I'm trying to do it fast because I see some clouds rolling in. That wind feels fantastic, I'll tell you that much. And I'm mixing it up. This wheelbarrow is sort of shallow, so that's good. I think I need to continue to use this wheelbarrow to do my mixing because it works great. When I use a deeper container, it's so hard on my back and my shoulders. So this is perfect to use this shallow wheelbarrow. And also, reusing the old soil has been great. it's saving you a lot of money. You still have to buy new soil, don't get me wrong, but saving that old container mix and reusing it is a cost saving. It really is money saving. So basically, once you're done with that plant, once that plant has played out, you're going to use that old soil. But you're going to just revitalize it. Okay? This looks good already, I'm telling you. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing I am going to do with this, because this is what I'm going to put my potatoes in. I will be adding sand. That's the other ingredient I will add, is because potatoes like sort of crappy, loamy, sandy, well-drained soil. So I say crappy, but it's not crappy. Trust me. There's so much good stuff in here and nutrients. Trust. Okay. We're ready to go, honey. Yeah, we are ready to go. Okay. Let's get started. Okay, I just wanted to show you the soil after I've added all the different things to it. So this is old soil that's been reworked. This is the soil where I added all the fertilizer, the peat moss, compost, perlite, vermiculite. And this one I didn't add sand to. There's another container where I added sand because I wanted it more sandy and loamy, because I put my potatoes in that particular container. But this container, I'm getting ready to put my collard greens in here. So I just wanted to show you the soil after it's been reworked. Okay, so when I say I'm reworking the soil, basically I'm taking this. All right, this is where I had collard greens from the summer. It's dry, it's crusty. There's old dried leaves in there. There's old roots in there. Okay, and trust me, the nutrients have completely been it's depleted from the soil. Okay, so it needs to be reworked, revitalized. Take off that crusty layer, get rid of those roots. And then you add fresh soil and all those other good things to it to make it nice and fresh like this. So this is ready for planting. Okay, and I'm gonna put my collard greens in here. I just wanted to show you the difference. Okay? All right. Okay, you guys, I wanted to share something with you. One of the things that I have in the garden right now are potatoes. I am growing potatoes. And I'm using grocery store potatoes. And what I have in the garden right now, yellow potatoes and red potatoes. Just your run-of-the-mill, no fancy name or anything, Kennebec or Red Norland or any of that. Red potatoes, the bag said. Red potatoes and yellow potatoes. Okay, and they're not even organic. It was really hard. I think I started with an organic potato and I could not for the life of me get them to grow sprouts or to chit. Okay, and so I tried again. This time it worked, and I have yellow potatoes and red potatoes in containers in the garden right now, and the red potatoes are already sprouting. The little plant is peeking up out of the soil. I can show you footage of that right now. But I was lucky to find another variety of potatoes, so I will be growing 3 varieties. This is a russet potato, and this is the beauty of it. This is as close as you can come to that's something that looks like a certified seed potato. I bought this from the grocery store, and when I tell you they came from the grocery store like this was in the produce section. You know, I'm surprised they're even selling potatoes that look like this for people to cook with. But I'm going to use them as seed potatoes. So they're going in the soil just like this. They're already ready to rock and roll. I have several of them in this little basket right here. And they are russet potatoes. Okay? So like I said, the others are just red potatoes, yellow potatoes, but these are russets. And so now I have the red, the yellow, and I have a brown potato. So happy to find this because I had actually started looking online for seed potatoes and having them delivered. And just the delivery charge in itself is just way too much. That is too much for me. You know, to purchase the potatoes and you get like a sack, maybe a pound or so. I'm not sure. And then you don't know the quality of them. You don't know. I've read reviews where when they received their seed potatoes, they were dried out, they were rotting, they were small, and I just didn't have time for all that. I'd rather go to the grocery store and just buy grocery store potatoes, preferably ones that are organic. When they are organic, they have not been sprayed with that preservative, or they haven't been sprayed with, there's a chemical that they use to keep them from chitting, to keep them from doing this, from growing those little sprouts. So these are organic. I found these at Target. I hate to keep dropping names, but I found these at Target, and boy was I happy, because I have been looking for some good potatoes that sprout with these sprouts already ready to rock and roll, just like a seed potato. A certified seed potato comes, it looks just like this. It has the little sprouts. Sometimes they have little roots and sprouts larger than this. But look at these. They are so ready to go in the container. So I'm honestly, this is what I'm about to go do right now. I'm going to get my container together so I can go ahead and put these in the soil. Is this not a blessing? Okay.